I never thought I'd be writing this, but after what happened 3 weeks ago, I can't sleep, I can't eat, and I sure as hell can't keep this to myself anymore. My name is Sarah, and I'm 28 years old. Up until last month, I thought I knew everything about my family. I was wrong. Dead wrong. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday morning. I was rushing to get ready for work, coffee in one hand, mascara in the other, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Sarah Mitchell? The voice was female, shaky, like she'd been crying. Yes, who is this? My name is Emma Collins. I think we need to talk. I set down my mascara, suddenly focused. About what? About our father. My blood ran cold. Our father? I only had one sister, Jessica, and she was sitting in her apartment across town, probably still in bed. I think you have the wrong number. Robert Mitchell. Born in 1965. Married to Linda Mitchell. Lives at 847 Maple Street. My hands started shaking. That was my father's information, down to the exact address. How do you know that? Because he's my father, too. I sat down hard on my bed, the room spinning around me. That's impossible. My father doesn't have any other children. Emma's laugh was bitter, hollow. That's what I thought about my dad, too, until I found these. She texted me photos while we were still on the phone. Birth certificates, photos, documents. My father, looking exactly like he did 20 years ago, holding a baby. A baby that wasn't me or Jessica. The timestamp on the photos showed dates from 1994. I was only 4 years old then. Sarah, are you there? I was staring at a photo of my father kissing a woman I'd never seen before. A woman who looked strikingly similar to my mother, but with darker hair and different eyes. Who is this woman? That's my mother, Patricia Collins. She died 2 years ago, and I've been going through her things. I found a whole box of photos, letters, and documents. Sarah, our father had an affair with my mother for over 15 years. The room was spinning faster now. I gripped the phone so tight my knuckles went white. 15 years? From 1993 to 2008. Look at the dates on the photos I sent you. I scrolled through them, my heart sinking with each image. There were dozens of photos spanning over a decade. My father at Emma's birthday parties. My father teaching Emma to ride a bike. My father walking Emma down the aisle at what looked like a school dance. Sarah, there's more. More? I whispered. I found bank statements. He was sending my mother money every month, thousands of dollars, and there are life insurance documents naming me as a beneficiary. I felt like I was going to throw up. All those years, all those times my father said he had to work late, all those business trips, all those moments when he seemed distant and distracted. He had another family, another daughter. I need to see you, I said finally. I was hoping you'd say that. Can you meet me today? We arranged to meet at a coffee shop downtown. I called in sick to work, something I'd never done for anything less than the flu. But this wasn't just anything. This was my entire life crumbling around me. I got to the coffee shop 30 minutes early and sat in the corner, nursing a cup of coffee that tasted like ash. I kept staring at the door, wondering what she would look like. Would she look like me? Like Jessica? Like Dad? When she walked in, I knew immediately it was her. It was like looking at a version of myself from an alternate universe. Same height, same build, same color eyes. But her hair was darker, her face more angular, and she had this haunted look that I'd never seen in any mirror. Sarah? She said, approaching my table cautiously. I nodded, unable to speak. She sat down across from me, and for a long moment, we just stared at each other. The resemblance was undeniable. Anyone looking at us would know we were related. "I brought copies of everything," she said finally, sliding a manila folder across the table. "I thought you might want to see it all." I opened the folder with trembling hands. The first document was a birth certificate. Emma Rose Collins, born March 15, 1994. Father, Robert James Mitchell. Mother, Patricia Ann Collins. "You're 3 years younger than me," I said, more to myself than to her. "Yeah, which means—" She trailed off, but I knew what she was thinking. "Which means our father was cheating on my mother when I was only 4 years old. Which means he'd been living a double life for most of my childhood." I flipped through more documents, bank statements showing monthly payments of $3,000 to Patricia Collins, life insurance policies, photos of Emma's graduations, birthdays, holidays, and in every single photo, there was my father, smiling like he belonged there. "Did you know about us?" I asked. "About me and Jessica?" Emma shook her head. "Not until Mom died. She never told me about you. I grew up thinking I was his only child. Mom said he couldn't marry her because of his job, that it would complicate things. I believed her." "What did she tell you about why he wasn't around more?" "That he traveled a lot for work. That he was building a future for us. That someday, when I was older, things would be different." Her voice cracked. "I waited my whole life for someday." I stared at a photo of my father pushing Emma on a swing. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old, pigtails flying, huge smile on her face. He was looking at her with such love, such pride, the same way he looked at me and Jessica. "Emma, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." She nodded. "Are you here because you want money? Because you think you deserve part of his estate or something?" Her face hardened. "I don't want his money, Sarah. I want answers. I want to know why he abandoned me, why he chose you over me. He didn't choose me over you. He chose to lie to all of us." "Did he, though?" She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Did he really lie to you, or did you just never ask the right questions?" I felt my chest tighten. "What do you mean?" "Look at these dates, Sarah. Really look at them." She pulled out a photo from 2005. My father and Emma at what looked like a father-daughter dance. Emma was wearing a pink dress, my father in a suit I recognized. I recognized it because I remembered that suit. I remembered that night. "This was taken on May 15, 2005, Emma said. My blood turned to ice. "That's impossible." "Why?" "Because that's the night of my own father-daughter dance. My junior prom. We went to dinner first, then he dropped me off at the dance." Emma's eyes went wide. "What time?" "He picked me up at 6. We had dinner until about 7:30, then he took me to the dance around 8. This photo was taken at 9:30. I remember because the photographer announced it. We stared at each other across the table. The implication was clear and horrifying. My father had dropped me off at my dance, then driven across town to attend Emma's dance, in the same suit, on the same night. "Sarah, there's something else." I didn't want to know. I desperately didn't want to know. But I had to ask. "What?" "I kept a diary when I was younger. I wrote down every time I saw Dad, every conversation we had. I brought it." She pulled out a small leather journal, worn and filled with bookmarks. "I marked some dates that might be important." She opened to a page dated December 23, 2001, in a child's handwriting. "Dad came to see me today. He brought me a Christmas present early. A bike. He said he had to give it to me now because he would be with his other family on Christmas Day. I asked him about his other family, but he said I was too young to understand." He looked sad, I felt the blood drain from my face. His other family. Sarah, I think he told my mother about you. I think she knew. But he never told us about you. Emma flipped to another page. Listen to this. This is from 2003. Dad taught me to ride my bike today. He said he taught another little girl to ride her bike too, and that she was very brave. He said I reminded him of her. When I asked if I could meet her, he said, maybe someday. My hands were shaking now. I remembered learning to ride my bike. I remembered my father's patience, his encouragement, his pride when I finally got it. I remembered him saying I was brave. Emma, I need you to understand something. My father never mentioned you. Not once. Not ever. We had no idea you existed. I know. That's what makes this so much worse. What do you mean? Because it means he made a choice. He chose to keep you secret from me, but he chose to keep me secret from you. Why would he do that unless... Unless what? Unless he was planning something. Unless he was waiting for something. I stared at her, my mind racing. Planning what? I don't know. But Sarah, there's one more thing. Something I haven't told you yet. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. What? 3 days before my mother died, she was in the hospital. She was on a lot of pain medication, kind of out of it. But she kept talking about secrets, about how she was tired of keeping secrets. What kind of secrets? She said Dad had asked her to keep quiet about you and Jessica. She said he'd promised he would tell you about me when the time was right. But she also said... Emma's voice dropped to barely a whisper. She said there were other things. Things she'd never told me. Things about why Dad could never leave your mother. What kind of things? She said your mother knew. She said your mother had always known about me. The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too hot, too loud. I stood up abruptly, knocking over my chair. That's impossible. My mother would have told me. Would she? Think about it, Sarah. Really think about it. Have you ever asked her directly about affairs? About other women? I hadn't. The thought had never occurred to me. My parents had always seemed solid, stable. Sure, they had their arguments, but what married couple didn't? Emma, I need to go. I need to think. Sarah, wait. There's one more thing. I can't handle any more right now. Please, just one more thing, and then I'll leave you alone. I sat back down, my legs too shaky to support me anymore. I hired a private investigator to find out more about Dad's finances. The money he was sending my mother. It wasn't coming from his salary. What do you mean? He was embezzling from his company. For 15 years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I felt like I was drowning. Are you sure? The investigator has copies of everything. Bank records, company records, everything. Sarah, I think Dad is about to be caught. I think that's why he's been so distant lately. I think he knows his time is running out. I thought about the past few months. Dad had been acting strange. More phone calls, more late nights, more stress. Mom had commented on it several times. We'd all assumed it was just work pressure. Emma, how long have you known about this? I found out yesterday. That's why I called you. I think we need to warn him. Warn him? Emma, he's been lying to us our entire lives. He's been stealing money. He's been living a double life. He's still our father. Is he? Because right now, I don't know who he is. We sat in silence for a long moment, the weight of everything settling around us like a heavy blanket. What do you want from me, Emma? I want to meet Jessica. I want to know my sister. My sister. She's my sister. Our sister. The word hung in the air between us. Our sister. I had a sister I'd never known about, and now she wanted to meet the sister I'd grown up with. I need time to process this. I understand. But Sarah, there's something else. Something I'm afraid to tell you. What now? I think Mom left me something. Something that might explain everything. What kind of something? A safety deposit box. I found the key in her jewelry box, but I haven't opened it yet. I was too scared to go alone. Why would you be scared? Because Mom made me promise, before she died, that I would only open it if something happened to Dad. She said if Dad was ever in trouble, I should open the box and do what was inside. My blood ran cold. What kind of trouble? I don't know. But Sarah, I think she knew this day would come. I think she knew about the embezzlement. I think she knew Dad would eventually get caught. You think she left you instructions? I think she left me evidence. We stared at each other across the table, both of us understanding the implications. If Emma's mother had evidence of our father's crimes, if she'd been keeping records all these years, then this was about to become much bigger than just a family secret. Emma, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay. Do you think our father is a good man? She was quiet for a long time, staring out the window at the street. Finally, she looked back at me. I used to think he was the best man in the world, but good men don't abandon their children. Good men don't steal money. Good men don't force women to keep secrets for 15 years. So what do? We open the box, we find out what Mom left me, and then we decide whether to save him or let him face the consequences. I looked at this woman, my sister, sitting across from me. 3 hours ago, I didn't know she existed. Now she was asking me to potentially destroy our father's life. When do you want to do this? Tomorrow. The bank opens at 9. I'll pick you up at 8:30. Sarah? Yeah? Whatever we find in that box, whatever happens next, I want you to know that I'm glad I found you. I'm glad I have a sister. I wanted to say the same thing back to her, but I couldn't. Because the truth was, I wasn't glad. I wasn't glad to learn that my father was a liar and a thief. I wasn't glad to learn that my entire childhood was built on deception. I wasn't glad to have a sister who might be about to destroy my family, but I was curious. And that curiosity was going to either save us all or damn us all. The next morning, I picked Emma up at her apartment. She was waiting outside, holding a small purse and wearing the same haunted expression she'd had yesterday. You ready for this? I asked as she got in the car. No, but I don't think I have a choice anymore. We drove to the bank in silence. I kept glancing at her in the passenger seat, still amazed by how much she looked like me, how much she looked like Jessica, how much she looked like our father. At the bank, Emma signed the paperwork, and we were led to a small room with a table and 2 chairs. A few minutes later, a bank employee brought in a metal box and left us alone. You want to do the honors? Emma asked. I shook my head. This is your mother's box. You should open it. Emma's hands were shaking as she lifted the lid. Inside were stacks of documents, photos, and a letter addressed to Emma in her mother's handwriting. Read the letter first, I said. Emma unfolded it with trembling hands and began to read aloud. My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, then something has happened to your father, and it's time for you to know the truth. I have spent 15 years keeping Robert's secrets, but I can't take them to my grave. Robert Mitchell is not just your father. He is also the father of 2 other daughters, Sarah and Jessica. But more than that, he is a man who has been living a lie for most of his adult life. When I met Robert, he was already married to Linda. But their marriage was not what it seemed. Linda knew about me from the beginning. She knew about you. She agreed to let Robert support us financially because she was keeping her own secrets. Emma, your father is not an embezzler. The money he sent us every month came from Linda. She has been paying Robert to keep quiet about her own affair, her own illegitimate child. Sarah and Jessica are not both Robert's daughters. Jessica is not his biological child. She is the daughter of Linda's long-term affair with her boss, David Richardson. Robert has been raising her as his own in exchange for money to support you. I have copies of DNA tests, bank records, and correspondence between Robert and Linda. I have photos of Linda with David Richardson. I have proof that Jessica's real father is a wealthy man who has been paying Linda to keep quiet about their affair. Emma, you have a choice to make. You can use this information to destroy both families, or you can use it to bring everyone together. But you cannot use it to hurt innocent people. Sarah and Jessica are not responsible for their parents' lies. They are your sisters, and they deserve to know the truth. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you this while I was alive. I'm sorry I made you wait so long to know your sisters. But I'm not sorry for protecting you. Everything I did to keep you safe. Use this information wisely. All my love, Mom. Emma's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the letter. I stared at her, trying to process what we'd just learned. Jessica isn't my father's daughter, I said finally, which means she's not my sister either. But she's still my sister. She's still the person I grew up with. Sarah, do you understand what this means? I nodded slowly. It means our parents have been playing a much bigger game than we ever imagined. It means everyone has been lying to everyone. We sat in silence for a long moment, staring at the box full of evidence. Finally, Emma spoke. What do we do now? We tell Jessica. We tell her everything. Are you sure? This is going to destroy her world. Her world is already built on lies. At least this way, she'll know the truth. And then what? Then we decide whether we're a family or just a collection of people who happen to be lied to by the same people. Emma reached across the table and took my hand. Sarah, I know this is a lot. I know this changes everything. But I want you to know that I meant what I said yesterday. I'm glad I found you. This time, I squeezed her hand back. I'm glad you found me too. Because despite everything, despite all the lies and secrets and betrayals, I had found something I'd never expected to find. A sister who understood what it felt like to be lied to by the people who were supposed to protect you. And maybe, just maybe, that was worth more than all the lies we'd been told. Come on, I said, standing up. Let's go tell Jessica she's about to meet her sister. As we walked out of the bank, Emma carrying the box of evidence, I realized that my life had fundamentally changed. Yesterday, I was Sarah Mitchell, daughter of Robert and Linda, sister to Jessica. Today, I was Sarah Mitchell, daughter of Robert and Linda, sister to Jessica and Emma, keeper of family secrets that could destroy or heal everything. The question was, which would I choose? Only time would tell.